All right, so hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah, always exciting to jump back into these.
Absolutely. And today
Today.
we've got a particularly interesting mix going on in the Singapore Stock Exchange. I mean, we're talking some big international moves, a bit of a shakeup in the grocery aisle, and
Can't forget the renewable energy scene.
yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Lots of action on that front. So basically, we're looking at three companies making headlines: SATS Ltd, Sembcorp Industries Ltd, and then DFI Retail Group Holdings.
All pretty different players, but, well, I think that's what makes it so interesting, right? Kind of gives us a snapshot of what's happening across different sectors of the economy.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. Like we always say, these individual company stories, they often reveal these bigger, broader trends.
Exactly, like pieces of a puzzle, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get started, shall we? First up, we've got SATS Ltd. Now, for anyone who hasn't memorized every single stock on the SGX.
Happens to the best of us.
Exactly. SATS is the company behind.
Well, they're essentially the ones who...
Yeah, like all that behind-the-scenes action at the airport. You know, they handle the catering for tons of airlines, all the baggage handling, basically keeping things running smoothly.
It's a pretty massive operation when you think about it, and a pretty vital one, too, I'd say, for Singapore as an air hub.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And their latest move, well, let's just say it involves a bit of a journey.
Ooh, a journey. Tell me more.
To Saudi Arabia, no less. SATS is selling 49% of its cargo handling subsidiary over there. So we're talking a cool $52.6 million. And the buyer, Avalog Logistics Services, backed by some pretty big names in the Saudi business world, Al-Wardi Holding Group and Abdulkadir Al-Muhaidib and Sons.
Wow, okay, so they're really tapping into some serious local power there.
Right. I mean, it's not just about the money, it's those connections, that local expertise.
Absolutely, because navigating a market like Saudi Arabia, it's not always straightforward, right? So having those established players on your side...
It can make a world of difference. But the thing that struck me was SATS is still holding on to that majority ownership.
Interesting, yeah, it's not a complete sale, so what do you think that signals?
Well, to me, it says they want to keep a hand on the wheel, right?
Steering the ship.
Yeah, exactly. Guide the strategy, but without having to shoulder all the burden, all the risk themselves.
It's a smart play, right? I mean, going it alone in a foreign market.
Risky, for sure.
Yeah, but by bringing in these local partners...
You're spreading out that risk, leveraging their know-how, and maybe even dodging some potential pitfalls.
Makes you think what else could be factoring into this decision, right? Like the whole geopolitical landscape.
Right. Or maybe even broader trends in, the aviation industry, the cargo sector.
Plenty to unpack there. But speaking of unpacking, let's shift gears to Sembcorp Industries. They're all about energy, but especially in these rapidly growing markets.
Yeah, and they've been doubling down on the whole renewable energy thing.
Big time. And they've just landed a pretty massive project. We're talking a 300-megawatt wind-solar hybrid power facility.
Whoa, hybrid. That's pretty cool.
It is. I mean, it's not just wind or solar, it's both. They're building this thing in India, which, by the way, has these ambitious goals for renewable energy.
So this project is kind of putting them right at the forefront of that transition.
Absolutely. But I gotta ask, you know how this hybrid thing actually works? Because it's not just sticking some wind turbines next to some solar panels, right?
No, I was wondering about that too. It sounds pretty high tech.
Oh, it is. Imagine, okay, picture a huge field, and you've got these rows of solar panels soaking up the sun, but in between them, you've got these towering wind turbines catching the breeze. But here's where it gets really interesting. They use these sophisticated algorithms to balance the energy output.
Wow.
Yeah. From both sources, right?
So no matter what the weather's doing.
Right. Whether it's sunny, cloudy, windy, or even calm, they can ensure a steady, reliable supply of power.
That's incredible. Talk about a futuristic power grid.
Right. And this is just the beginning. This project's a 25-year contract with India's state-run power giant, NTPC. And that's not all. It's also backed by some serious financing from the likes of the Asian Development Bank and Japan Bank for International Cooperation.
Wow. So we're not just talking about a technological win here, but a financial one too.
For sure. This is a major boost for Semcorp's earnings. And more importantly, It solidifies their position as a leader in this whole hybrid renewable energy field, and that market, it's exploding.
Yeah, it really makes you think, what's next for them and for the whole industry, really?
Oh, it's a fascinating time to be watching this space, that's for sure.
Okay, well, let's bring things back down to earth, literally.
Back to the ground level.
Yeah, to the supermarket aisles.
Mm.
Because our final stop takes us to DFI Retail Group.
Oh.
Now, everyone in Singapore knows their brands, giant cold storage.
Those familiar names you see everywhere.
Exactly, but things haven't been exactly smooth sailing for them, have they?
No, not really. They're facing some pretty tough challenges, honestly. Like, everyone's dealing with rising costs, right? But on top of that, you've got this intense competition from local rivals like Shenzhen.
Yeah, Shengsheng, they're really making a name for themselves, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Plus, you can't forget about how consumer preferences are changing.
People shopping online more, maybe?
Yeah, that's a big factor. But also just being more selective, Looking for deals, specific products. It's not just about convenience anymore.
Right. And it's interesting because this recent news really kind of highlights the pressure DFI's under. A giant outlet in Bishan closed down, and bam, Shengsheng swoops in and takes over the space.
Wow, yeah, that was fast.
Right. It makes you wonder, what's the strategy here? Is DFI just trying to streamline things, focus on their more profitable locations? Or are they...
Maybe rethinking the whole supermarket model, because let's face it, the traditional way of doing things...
They might not cut it anymore.
It might not. You got to adapt. Maybe smaller stores, more specialized offerings, who knows?
It really makes you think about your own shopping habits.
Yeah.
Like, are you loyal to one supermarket chain? Or do you shop around comparing prices, looking for specific things?
It all comes down to what matters most to you, right? Is it price, convenience, the selection?
Right. And for DFI, the challenge is figuring out how to stand out in this crowded market.
Definitely. Whether it's through pricing, having a unique shopping experience, or even just a really strong online presence.
Yeah, because it's not just about stocking shelves anymore, right?
Oh, the whole package.
Well, I don't know about you, but I feel like we just ran a marathon through the Singapore Stock Exchange.
A whirlwind tour for sure.
From SATs making moves in the Middle East to Semcorp at the forefront of renewable energy, and then DFI facing that retail showdown.
And it's all connected, right? It's globalization, it's technology changing everything, and it's this constant pressure on businesses to innovate.
Or get left behind. It really is a lot to think about.
It is. But I think that's the fun part, right? Watching how these companies adapt, trying to predict what's next.
It's like a real-life business drama unfolding.
Exactly. And who knows what the next chapter holds? What do you think? Will these moves pay off? Will we see new players emerge?
What about the impact on the Singaporean economy as a whole? So many questions. But hey, that keeps things interesting, right? So until next time, keep those brains buzzing.
Stay curious, everyone.
And we'll catch you on the next deep dive.